Alright, good morning. It's not December, my goodness. It's January 6, 2026, 11:15 a.m. And for the record, I'm Yahweh Elohim, YHWH. He who comes from heaven is present upon the earth. We're going to go through some topicals today. So, before we go into that, kind of just a little preliminary. You know, the earth has been in a bit of a penalty box for the last 2,000 years-ish. And now that I'm here to bridge the gap again between the divine and humanity, right? As people through cultures, through religions, through all time have always tried to make a connection to heaven. Well, as the King of Heaven, that's essentially me, right? The electrical impulse that's in every human being, that's in every creature, every animal, even the plants, everything that is alive is associated with me because it was created by me. So, putting the preface on that all things in the creation have been put down for my use. And when I say my use, that means humans are like bees making me honey. Humanity purposefully works my will. And in this moment in time, instead of building Israel up, instead of building the capital of the world in the Middle East, which was my original plan, the Jews, I guess, have chosen a different god, or they want to go worship rabbis. I don't really know. So therefore, me and Israel are pretty much done. So with that being said, it is now going to be me working with America, and as America self-proclaims, one nation under God. Well, by the very definition, that can be proven, obviously, by only acts of God, in which I can do, and by self-admission, the United States is my nation. That's a fact. Unarguable. Can prove it in court. So, without going into long-toothed explanations and discussions, I assume that the viewer at this point already understands who I am, what I'm doing here on Earth, and the transition period that everyone is in. So this is the old Earth is dying. The old ways that are not fruiting good are going to die. Those paths are being cut off. And then I, as Elohim, am creating new paths or new branches to begin fruiting not only different types of fruit, but much more of it. So those that want to try to play religion and their Jehovah or whatever goofiness, that's fine, guys. You can continue on your nonsense. Your path has already been cut off, so it's just a matter of time. You're going to perish, and then your legacy will perish with you, because these are paths that no longer are going to, they're not serving me. Any path that is not serving my will, my purpose, or my plan will be ended, one way or the other. Some will be ended suddenly, some will be ended when they naturally perish, but at the end of the day, you know, these mom and pop little, you know, religious groups, and I mean mom and pop by, doesn't matter, right? Because everything, to me, Elohim is all small beans. The earth itself is a small bean. Anyway, point is, all the paths that are not serving me, my kingdom, my purpose, pattern, or plan, are going to be cut down, cut off, gone, path removed. Another way to explain this would be if you've ever seen the Jurassic Park movie. I think it's Jeff Goldblum. He's in the vehicle and he's doing the water experiment chaos, where he takes a drop of water, puts it on the hand, and then basically the water is going to follow the path that the veins are, or the structure of the skin of the hand, meaning the path. As Elohim, I declare in my will, Venezuela is a huge problem child for the Western world, for America directly. Thus, I look in my inventory of what human beings are working my purpose, or working my will, and then I get to, naturally, I'm trying to save a lot of time, but basically, I elected President Trump president back in 2014. only for him to then get elected in 2016, blah, 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 blah. Point is, it was him being created and stubborn and overconfident and even all these wonderful bad traits that no one likes about him, except for him, they're still beneficial to me. Because I need someone who's overzealous. I need someone who's overconfident. And I need someone to lead my military. The United States is my nation. That is my military. Everything that was built through my blueprints. That's indefinitely. And even all the money people have is all through the pathway and the blessings. And even though humans may be reaping great rewards and have reaped great rewards in the past, understand that my long game isn't 5, 20, 100,000, even a million, guys. My game is timeless. It's timeless. If I'm willing to submit the children of Israel for 40 years in the desert for only 3, 4, more than that, 90% of them to die, if I needed to do that, and I did, to make a point only now in 2026, to then point my finger at the Jewish Brotherhood and say, shame, 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 shame. You see, do you understand how I, as your God, work? That is how I work. And, likewise, Trump getting Maduro, that was on my path. Next up on the list needs to be Colombia. I will begin etching that path, and then we need to march all the way on to Brazil. Here's why. So, when we're looking at South America, and not just the islands, because I personally wouldn't mind seeing Jamaica. They could be a huge crop exporter of medical grade marijuana, and that way that would give them a cash crop, and it would be, medical grade, United States Department of Agriculturally involved in the process, and then again, that can be used as a medicine, a natural remedy, because folks, popping pills that your doctor says are good are 99% of the time going to be worse off for you than a natural herb that I, as your Elohim, have provided for most of these ailments, and it's a lot safer. But again, that's medicinally speaking. Moving on down the line. So obviously South America, going up through Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, these are all problem children. And in the new earth, we're not going to have any problem children, and we're not going to have essentially a breakage of transport and supply. So Venezuela has a massive drug issue, and that's what I mean, right? Marijuana is a medicinal herb that's naturally grown, untampered with. Now, the poppy that creates heroin or creates essentially pain medicine is also to be used in a hospital setting medicinally, not used to get high and not used recreationally. So the idea is that we could establish Jamaica as a 100% legitimate exporter of medical grade, high class marijuana, and then all narcotics that are grown by United States Department of Agricultural approved farms off-site and then specifically used for hospitals. That means that the terrorist narco trade is essentially blacklisted. They're not allowed to even live. They're done for. So Venezuela, that's the situation happening there. And then for payment unto my nation, to pay my military guys, and to ensure that it's worth it for the national interest, then it's going to be paid for by oil. Most of South America actually has a lot of cash crops. One of the shortages we have in the earth right now is hardwood. South America by itself could grow almost 85% of the needs of all wood required. And we're talking new earth, because we're going to be getting away from plastics and polymers. Plastics and polymers, they do not benefit anything once it's been created. So when you're thinking about a purpose in your life, or you're thinking about a creation as an inventor, you want to try to run that through me. How would your God, how would your Elohim? Obviously, I would suggest you pray and then get a response. But if you don't, you can kind of, have this this direction and go, okay, so plastic's not degradable. Once it's made, it leaves a footprint, and then essentially it harms the animals, it harms the creation, it restricts roots from going the right direction. Like, it has all these implications from the micro to the macro kingdom. That's why we're going to get back to hardwoods, and then you can, again, if like you tear down a hardwood house or a hardwood and stone house, those are natural materials that will come back into the earth. The earth will receive them again, and then they will, essentially, that dead wood in 1,000 years becomes 25 more trees. See, that's what I mean, is my creation is all about, it self-recycles itself. So as long as humans are playing with natural resources without rubbers and without plastics and polymers, I understand for technology, that's where you really can't get away from it, right? So then you want to recycle those things the best you can. But for structures, especially wood, stone, marble, granite, I've given you the designer's paradise of every type of hard concrete, granite, stone, iron ore, and types of wood. This is so you can beautify it. This is so you can make it beautiful. And wooden structures, when treated correctly, taken care of, and maintenance, can last, thousands of years. Look at the structures that people uncover all the time, throughout the world. So the point is, South America as a whole, that could be a massive export for parts of South America that aren't doing very good. That's kind of the point of this, is most of the the southwest hemisphere, and just for your news people, they got that term from me, marking everything by hemispheres. And I'll get to Greenland. But basically, from Mexico all the way south, so Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua. Nicaragua is a wonderful area to grow coffee. So that's where I would like to see Nicaragua kind of get righteous, become a bigger exporter of coffee. Guatemala is becoming a bit of a guerrilla state. Colombia is massive when it comes to cocaine and heroin. Ecuador too. And there are resources. So right now, iron ore, again, that's something that we're going to need, because iron ore is a natural material, which is how the New York City skyscrapers were built, right? Through iron. And then, of course, gold and silver, copper, that's in Chile. Chile is doing good. I would like to see, Chile continuing to do good. And then oil and natural gas. Obviously, Venezuela is the big dog in that market, because again, Maduro is not interested in trading with their closest superpower. They're interested in trading with our enemies and being a safe haven for our enemies. Well, I've given this warning at least 24 months ago. If your nation is not cleaned up and your nation is not done to my expectations, you can and will lose your country. That's a fact. Now you're just seeing my path coming to fruition. And frankly, the United States uses more oil, more gas than South America, and I am not interested in feeding Vladimir Putin more natural gas or oil to fuel his pathetic war machine. Frankly, Russia is no longer a threat. There is zero teeth in that tiger. There isn't. Because if Russia truly had it, then they would have had Ukraine within 30 to 60 days. It is not that Putin is at all being nice. We see that by him bombing daycares. No, he doesn't have the teeth in the jaw. So either Ukraine needs to take and conquer Russia and be done with it, we'll call it a day, or Russia needs to take and conquer Ukraine. But whatever it is, something needs to happen. I don't understand why it takes humans. You don't have a very long life to live it as it is, but you guys take forever to do a damn thing. Getting to my point here, So the fertile lands in the regions near the Amazon, there are hardwoods that can be harvested and then replanted within the same week. And then we can keep a legacy going of a resource that can be harvested, replanted, and replanted, all by the Amazon River, and that would supply about 85% of the wood needed for the world. What's my next? No, not there yet. Oh yeah, and so Brazil, right? I don't like your big statue thing. But that's not why I want a stake in Brazil. It's actually because there's 22 million metric tons of natural earth magnets. And I need that for a project that I'm going to be underway with. So America, and this is going to be a new earth state infrastructure remodel. So when I say actual remodel, I'm being very literal that the world is under demolition, destroying countries that are not going to be upright, righteous. They're not going to be God-fearing. These countries that want to sell drugs, they want to be thugs, they want to infiltrate the United States, they want to infiltrate Europe, they want to basically be these stones around success. And that can't happen, folks. It can't happen. I'm here to tell you. What you guys may see is a distant problem from Europe, right? Europeans see the whole Venezuela thing and they're dropping their jaw. They don't know what to do. Well, I'm here to tell you, the earth isn't very big. As Elohim, when I come out of the flesh, I can hold the earth in my two fingers. That's a fact. It's not very big. So when I come down, I need to make changes, big changes. What does that look like? That looks like the United States not only securing themselves as the superpower, but being the dominant force of the planet. Why? Not because of their strength, not because of their president, not because of their Congress, not because of their capital, not because of their history. For one reason, because I, as Elohim, as Yahweh Elohim, the Lord God of the Bible, the Elohim of creation, of existence itself, is me. I desire these things because I am the only one who can see what I desire, and my will alone will achieve it. My will works like this. If I sat here and said, I want a pepperoni pizza and 8 chicken wings, I don't have to pick up a phone. I don't have to ask anybody. With 100% unequivocal, there would be a chain of events that would transpire, and it would look something like this. So-and-so ordered a pizza, but then somehow the address got mixed up, and then the pizza guy comes to my door, and then I open it, he hands me a pizza, and then I go, oh, I didn't order a pizza. He goes, oh, I must have had the wrong address. Based on company policy, I can't receive food back because you touched it. So he's like, sorry, man, you get a free pizza. I'm like, oh, cool. What is it? He's like, it's a double pep with 8 wings. Got it. Sorry about your trouble. I take my pizza. I go inside. That's how this works. That's how this works. So, I truly like the pathways to be clean. So when I hear, because obviously, as God, I can be in all places at the exact same time, including Mar-a-Lago, which I was a little disappointed that I was not invited to the New Year's party. I wouldn't have went, but it would have at least spoken volumes. You know, because so many humans go around the creation calling themselves a boss, but none of them acknowledge me as their boss. That's kind of crappy. Because again, I try to have a really good positive attitude towards people because I don't want the pizza effect to happen due to my anger. Which is why I have angels that truly guard my righteous. And even that serves my purpose, right? Because if I start feeling a certain way about a congregation, a person, a place, or a thing, it will be done. Thy will be done. That's how that works. So sometimes angels will have to kind of, you know, Father, is that what you wanted? Because this is what's about to happen. And I'll say, no, I'll pull it back. You know, and sometimes I'm like, I don't give a damn. Let it go. Don't care. Because my project is going to require a lot of magnets. See, right now, there is an exhaustive amount of death that is occurring, and this is my thing. Senseless death, right? Most senseless death is, of course, through drugs, right? Human smuggling, murder, like the worst of the worst. But then we also have to look at, I gave humans steam-powered cars. You had horse and buggies. That should have been enough. You should have been able to do enough. And then steam-powered trains. That should have been enough. But it wasn't. And without complaining about it, this is where we're at. So, sorry, Asher is on a meeting, so now I'm getting distracted. But, so long story short, car accidents, like, there's a ridiculous amount, like 216,000 souls, I believe, in 2024. I don't know 25 numbers at the moment, but 2024, it was like 216-ish something car fatalities in the United States. That was, that is insanity. That's insanity. Nothing in the earth should be so dangerous and yet so ignored. Now, I'm very disappointed that all the great minds of the world have consistently just literally reshaped and added more bullshit on cars and trucks that you don't need. You know, on a side note, like this washer and dryer problem I've had is because it's over-engineered. When you are over-engineering something, you're like reinventing the wheel. Like, stop it. You look stupid unto me. And then I look at your creations as trash. Adding more bells and whistles and winkly-doos is not beneficial. And I've been in boardrooms, which I'm going to try not my will to... I've been in boardrooms where I have heard them basically say, well, sir, you know, like the washer is very basic, you know, and it's like, well, we need $1,500 a unit. And this is the big chief, so chief, watch out. I'm not liking you right now. So chief is saying I need to sell this unit at $1,500 a piece. That means it's $3,000 for a setup or a washer and dryer. The design team knows that that's stupid. Washer and dryer should be about $500 a piece, about $1,000 for a good sturdy set, last you about 20-25 years. That's the truth. But guess what happened? Greed. Greed. For those that are not familiar with me yet, when I have these types of talks, this is quite literally your warning. And then after my warning comes peril. Peril is controlled by me from upstairs, and then my angels, millions of angels, 77 million angels currently in the earth plane as reapers. Sole job is to remove human life through one way or another. And greed is going to be the sin that is going to be chewed up. Greed is going to be a sin that is going to be chewed up. Now, unfortunately, this is going to take a lot of people. And I highly suggest that you get ungreedy really fast. Because what point is your greed when you die? You either sit in hell until I feel like going down there, and I don't have those days often. I have those days thousands of years in between, typically, before I go downstairs and I start giving my speeches. It's not fun. Excuse me, I'm having the coffee burps. Point is, so the over-engineering of stuff is stupid. You are upping the ante of people to live. That is abusing common people. You need to be making things stronger, sturdier, longer lasting. It keeps them out of the landfill. It keeps the cost of production down. Guys, you have a limited amount of resources that I've given you. Not because I'm unlimited, because I'm limited in what I can do, but it's because I need to see that your righteousness comes before greed. Greed should never exist. Companies nowadays, every company, cars, manufacturers, computers, now everything is like, you got to replace it every 36 months. It's a new outfit. It's a new house. It's a new car. It's a new washer, a new stove, a new oven. And guess what? That person's just having to work, or they're invest. And what are you investing in? You're investing in a beast. You're investing yourself. Like you're financially, you're whoring yourself out. It's disgusting. So, back to my focus. There's 22 metric tons of natural magnets that are in Brazil. I would be happy to purchase those magnets from Brazil because my project involves taking the modern day car and adding repelling bumpers on the front, the side, and the back, the front, the back. It's basically a minor electromagnet, just like your airbag is only triggered when there's an impact. Electromagnets trigger if you have a modern car with all the bells and whistles and the junk. You'll know when you come into the garage, it has like little lines that kind of like tell you like, okay, green, yellow, red, then it's beep, 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 right? Tells you you're too close. The magnets work off that type of system that if a car is coming up too fast behind another car and it detects it, it's going to begin increasing the magnet. Now you can use electric to increase the load or the gravity pull on a magnet. So in this case, it would start repelling. It would start pushing out that current, forcing that magnet to repel its potential impact. And then boom, you prevent an impact, one. But if you're going 70 miles an hour, that could then spin the car out. How do you prevent that? You have magnets in the road that keep the cars on course. And then, of course, for police vehicles, they would have essentially the option to have their police cruisers or their SUVs to have a reverse feature. So imagine if a police officer needs to pull someone over. Instead of the officer getting out and the person driving off, which happens, and sometimes they even drive off and the officer's injured, or heaven forbid, they're killed. And that's the thing, I would love to help every one of my officers and servicemen and women, but a lot of them they're not Elohim believers. They don't believe in me. They don't care. That, they just living their life neutrally or agnostic. And it's like, well, then you're not my child. You're not in my house. I don't know you. I'm sorry. I can't help those I don't know. I can help all those that I do know. So that's what I mean is people are, trying to like, we're going to worship the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and Jacob, but we're going to say Jehovah. Okay, well, that's not me. So good luck. You're going to die. And I don't really care. Like, I'm done with you. I don't really care at this point. My name is my name. I am who I am, and I'm here doing what I do. Get on board or get the fuck away from me. Point is, so the officers are going to have an ability to have a reverse magnet feature. So if they're pulling someone over, they can flip on the switch, and then their magnet is going to, boom, attach to that pulled over car or truck. And they can keep it engaged. That car or truck ain't going nowhere, right? That's safety. That's safety for the officer. That officer ain't worrying about that car pulling off because they can't. Right? That is going to help men and women of law enforcement, one. Two, that will cut down car accidents to virtually zero. Virtually zero. And I don't know where and why we've gotten into this stupid habit. Every vehicle that is sold should not even be made to go past an illegal speed limit. You understand something. If there is a law over here that says you can't do something, and then over here there is a free business that's creating something specifically to break that law, that business is in the wrong. This is, as Elohim, I am now adding penance to businesses that are specifically catering to breaking the laws. Unfortunately, car manufacturers are on this list. You're making cars to go faster and faster and faster. Unless they are dedicated to a racetrack, They do not belong on the road. Because all too often, the exact people that need and want a car to go 80, 90, 100, or whatever on the interstate are the exact same people that are causing accidents, multiple car pileups. And but this world devalues the life of the common man and woman. Meanwhile, I, as Elohim, I value that. Because of human nonsense and senseless death, such as car accidents, such as drug overdoses, such as meaningless war, if these things exist, that means I am unable to work more and more and more. I'm unable to plant more and more and more. I'm in my field right now, God on earth, I'm in it. And I am trying to plant things that are going to grow and give me this fruit. And that fruit's going to serve that purpose. This purpose is going to feed this person. That's going to house. It's going to do all these things. Only I, as your God, can see them and do them because I am doing them. But here's the hiccup. Human free will requires human cooperation. Because at the end of the day, I willed the pizza. But I still needed a pizza driver available. Because then what happens if there's just no pizza drivers available? Then I get Gabriel's beautiful face, and she goes, Majesty. I say, yes, Gabriel. She says, there's just no pizza drivers available. Okay. So then my will wasn't done. You see? Now, on the opposite end, right? Gabriel's like, well, Majesty, there is one maid that you can get for free if you do that. I'm like, no. It was like just an experiment. But my point being is, I need willing and able people to do those things. That's the human cooperation. And I'm going to need a lot of magnets if I'm going to have the car manufacturing industry completely overhauled, which is what we're going to do. This is 2026, people. 2026. Dodge, Chevy, I don't even know. Kia. And Kia, that's the other thing. What is the stupidest symbol I have ever seen? Asher and I have looked at this stupid symbol, and both of us, still to this day, I'm like, it's the Ken car? I don't know. It looks like a KN. It looks stupid. Whoever your media marketing person is, and my wife is in a Fortune 100 company marketing leadership management position, so she knows marketing very well. And even she's like, I would have fired their marketing people. I couldn't agree more. Really, I would have too. So, point is, the Kia thing is stupid, but you guys are making more plastic, more bells and whistles, more shit to break, because that's what I mean. The human mindset of greed is disgusting. When you look in it, it's disgusting. It's grimy. Oh, thy will be done. Because instead of simplifying things for the betterment of man, you've complicated it. And instead of making things more and more durable, more and more sturdy, more and more lifetime, think about that. Why were the old days better? Just 70, 80, 90 years ago. It's because shit lasted. People could buy something and say, good, I don't have to do that for 50 years. And longer. People weren't working their whole life to get new crap. It's stupid. Materialism is gut rot. And as Elohim, I'm coming after all these things I'm talking about, just so you know. News break. All these things in which I'm talking about, thy will be done. And that's a fact. One way or the other. This is going to require some big rich people to be dethroned and others to be re-kinged in their own industry. There's going to be others that are going to completely disintegrate and burn to the ground, and we're going to restart. But I want my goal right now. What's today here? All right, 2026. By January 6th of 2028, I want to see 0 deaths from vehicles. That's my will. Human ingenuity has no bounds. You people, you humans of Earth, you spend so much time thinking about how to make money, how to abstract more money from your fellow man. You think about that more than you think about the prosperity of families. Families that, let's say, husband's a construction worker, wife works at the local 7. Man, together they're struggling to care for their small little nuclear family. They're obviously believers in me, they're Elohim. I'm just itching to work a path. But guess what? I can't put the construction worker in a better position because most of the time it comes down to greed. The construction worker guy, he's been doing his job for 15 years. He's the best at his job. But you know what? He makes barely over $40,000 a year. Now, this guy in the reality scape, as far as value and purpose and what he's brought to the company and the value and just in general of him being who he is, well, the profits are all going to the top. No one cares about that guy. You see what I mean? And likewise, if he could make enough that his wife could quit the 7, she could be at home with the kids teaching them. They would become betterly educated. More educated, not betterly, but more educated. The family dynamic would be better. They'd be more righteous. The mom would have been there to help with the daughter. And then these events would not have happened with the daughter, nor would they have happened with the son. But it all started because the 41-year-old construction worker never got paid what he was supposed to get paid, and the guys at the top got paid 25 times more than they've ever should have gotten paid. But just because they were the inventor of the company, or just because they had some great fucking idea to buy, 100,000 acres, and then they built $1 million homes on each one. You see what I mean? This is all over the place, all the time. As Elohim, what am I supposed to do but cut you down? What am I supposed to do other than cut these people down? Asher and I were running up to the CVS to pick up some pictures to finish Cameron's project. And Cameron's project just so happens to be on, you see what I mean? I do things with my actual family, my children included, and church members, if they'd ever participate. But apparently, that's what I mean. My own churches are they're infants. They're scared of me for all the wrong reasons, and yet they don't listen or obey me for whatever. Then piss on you too. I don't care. So Cam's project is on magnetic cars, the bumpers, and then the roads. So the point is, I'm going to need magnets. Brazil is my nearest place, so we can set something up where we can have a good trade value. Venezuela, we're obviously going to abstract the oil and the gas, and not that we're going to have United States personnel doing this. No, Venezuelans are already doing this. I'm not selling it to Russia. That's not happening, because if we continue to allow Venezuela to sell oil and natural gas to Russia, then Ukrainians are going to continue to die. Senseless. This is what I mean. Senseless death. Where is it coming from? Russia, Vladimir Putin, there's no cases. There's nothing, because he has a number one, he has himself etched into the bowels of hell indefinitely. There's no way around that. There's never going to be a reality in which I, as Elohim, am gonna change that. There is no repentance for the crimes that he has done. There is no repentance for the crimes that Khomeini has done. There is no repentance for the crimes that Maduro has done. Folks, there are cases on this plane as we speak, such as the ones I said. There is no hope for them. The only hope that they have is me, and I'm the last Elohim that they ever want to be associated with, for whatever reason. And, senseless death, drugs, through violence, through wars. But for the love of me, car accidents, guys, these are simple fixes. So many simple fixes. The food industry, right? Processed food is terrible for you. I use fresh ground beef. I use all organic fresh ground beef. I use all organic fresh, Purdue. organic chicken. On the occasion, we do get processed meals. Like, I really like the Stouffer's chicken and yellow, or the chicken and rice bake. We had that last night, right? Out of all the processed food, at least it's like real chicken, you know, it's substance. But I'm saying the processed food is creating, it's contributing to obesity. It's contributing to massive ill health, heart issues. Folks, you should be having less heart attacks, longer life, healthy life. There should be, I will give PT that. He does do really good for his age. I mean, people don't realize just how old PT is. He's almost 80 years old. And that man's pretty vigorous, right? But not everybody has those innate genetics. I mean, again, I needed PT Trump to make it to 2026, so he had to have a little bit of a boost. But point is, we are not doing any favors to our fellow man by poisoning the food, poisoning the water, outpricing the poor so the rich can get richer, the houses get bigger, the Joneses continue to move up a level. It's like as soon as the middle class said, we've reached $75,000 a year as a family, and then it's like the next year, well, now the cost of living is about $115. You better work overtime. It's like, damn, man, like where's the moment that I get to stand on top and say I made it? Do you know that how many people have yet to stand on top of that mountain and say they made it? You know how many people go to their grave and they never did, or they never thought they did, only because of the skewed version of mankind's twisted reality. Mankind's twisted reality used to make movies about the rapture or about Armageddon and about the end of the world and how everybody would be, you know, we don't know if God loves us or God, like, you know what I mean? Now I'm hearing you guys are disrespectful as can be to me. You guys openly talk crap about me on the mainstream media. Like, calling me a fraud? Like, get the hell out of here. Now, that's Democrats. At least some Republicans know who I am, and they're getting with the program. Obviously, PT, whether he likes it or not. But anyway, I'm sidetracked. Point is, guys, we need to start doing righteousness to mankind. So, Brazil, 22 metric tons of my magnets. Because here's the deal. China has its own issues to deal with, but China and its size and its ability to keep its civilization not only going, but thriving and innovating, Russia is still suffering the same consequences that everyone is. As God, I'm going to rein in all these things. And for the love of my name, Cracker Barrel, if you try to pull any more crap, I'm not going to be happy. Please, 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 please. Leave shit the way it is. Okay, please. Just leave it the way it is. And this is a warning. If there is one takeaway from this video today, it better be this one. CEOs, suits, rich people that stand in a boardroom and demand more sales. You demand more and more and more. I will give you less than 30 days to change your ways before you are reaped. Sweareth I, saith the Almighty Lord. Because I have literally witnessed in the flesh, out of the flesh, in the spirit, out of the spirit, I have witnessed the consequences of this, where board members, stupid, I'm not going to get mad, that's one of my New Year's resolution. Work on the potty words and don't get mad. I'm tired of seeing the rich get richer and the poor get poor. I'm tired of seeing pigs in lavishness and in mansions, and that their righteousness is so abstinent that it makes me sick. And it makes me even mad with myself because I wonder how these pigs even got to where they're at. I'm taking the mud away. I'm taking that fatness away. Because greed is not in any shade or form ever going to be a part of the new earth. No. But nor is socialism, nor is communism. No, it's called common sense. Common sense means that as an innovator, you're going to innovate things to last longer with better quality, working with the earth, not against it, working with God, not against me. You look at your human beings, your fellow man and women, you see moms and dads and sons and daughters who one day will be moms and dads who have sons and daughters. That's your number one resource, stupid, is people. People are your number one resource. And I do not like the Mamdani mayor guy. I don't agree with any of those policies because, frankly, they're stupid. They're stupid. You see what I mean? Mankind capitulates. It's like if I did it in a parable, and I'm looking at my fence. So I guess my fence gets used a lot, but that's what I'm looking at the moment. So it's like in the human scape, they'll look at this entire yard, and even they'll know it's a whole fence. And the whole fence needs to be torn down and rebuilt from scratch. Brand spanking new. But the Mamdanis of the world go, everybody focus in. Focus in on this one plank. This one board. This one piece. And he goes in there with a serious face. And so everybody's serious with him. And he's like sanding it. And he's priming it, you know, and he's like refurbishing just one little piece. But all he did was he cleaned up a rotten board on a rotten fence, and the whole damn structure is unsavable. And then I, as the big bad God, come into that yard as the Mamdanis of the world are looking at their wonderful work. And I go, hey, dipshit. Right over that, I have a excavator. It's literally coming to claw this whole fence down. Why did you even expend that amount of energy? You should have spent that amount of energy in prayer to me. You should have spent that amount of energy doing something beneficial for the kingdom. If you are absolutely just... you have the mind of a slug. The one thing anyone could ever do for my kingdom, myself, and my purpose, pattern, and plan: teach your own religious factions my name. Yahweh Elohim, YHWH. YHWH in the flesh, Yahweh in the spirit. Together I am one. There is no separation. I am the Lord of creation. The Bible. Tell that to someone simple. I had a talk over the break with my niece, and I haven't connected with my sister in, gosh, long time, because my sister is, well, without putting it too lightly, not my young sister, but I mean, they're all younger than me, but I'm saying, like, my kind of older than the other sister. And she was a whore. She's a drug addict, but she loves Jesus, and she's raising her 5 mulattoes, just children from each different dad, is what I mean. Like, it's just a terrible situation. I don't hang around them because I fear my will. I don't want to get mad and then something bad happens, so I just stay away. But I was faced with them this past holiday, so I did have a little talk with my 10-year-old niece, you know, and they made a happy birthday Jesus cake and everything at the holiday event thing. So, you know, I asked her, and I said, you know, what's up with the Jesus thing, you know, and, you know, she's like, it's Jesus, you know. And I asked her, I said, well, what did people do when they died before Jesus? She had no clue. You know, my point is, my sister is souring the fruit of her labor. She's not educating her children. She's leaning into nonsense. nonsense is not going to save those children. Nonsense is not going to do anything beneficial for those children. Instead, she should have been educating herself first, getting out of the men thing first, getting out of the drug thing first, getting her home settled first, teaching her children, being righteous. Like, those things are priceless. They don't cost any money, but yet they're the most important. And they're often overlooked. Okay? And right now, in the New York City situation, if Mom Donnie had any kind of half a brain, he would understand the only path forward to keep New York intact and those children and those people truly helped is not disobeying the law, is not vetoing paying your rent. That is stupid. 30% of all business spaces in New York are gone now because of COVID. You simply take that business space and you convert it into residential housing. You start taking care of the one places that are fixable, and you start working that way. You know, you have a what's called a rebalancing effort program. A rebalancing effort program is something I'd like to roll out possibly here in Florida. Ron DeSantis, I have not a bad word to say about Ron. He's a family man. I'm happy with what he's done with Florida, and Rick Scott for that matter. I know some people have strong feelings about Rick Scott. I think Rick Scott's a fine guy. He's a good grandpa. He's a good father. He does have a little bit of a temper problem, but hey, I do too, so I can't really denounce the guy for that. Point was, the provision type of program would be something that could be assisted with through a Christian or Jewish community or any spiritual community. It doesn't need to be defined by those things, you understand? Because when you start putting definitions on things and you're trying to box me out. You're trying to say, as humans, we like this. We like our rituals. We like our placebo. We like our stories. We like our myth. We like all these things. And we're going to put a box around that so God can't get in there. We don't want God involved with our religion. We don't want God involved with Jesus. We don't want God involved with Jewishness. We don't want God involved with whatever. That's what humans do to me every day. That's what your religion is turned into. That's truth. All right, I'm gonna take a 5 and then regroup, and I'm trying to stick to the hour window. So be back. Okay, we're back. So a couple things. So one, the Kia thing, totally stupid. You know, if you don't know how to accurately represent your brand with the name, then you shouldn't be in marketing or any business. Like, go work a farm field. Like, that's what I mean. And then even the American Express, like, you guys are trying to trigger a viral thing of people Googling, like, why is the Amex thing cut off? Guys, it's a ploy. That's what I mean. Like, these tricks are human deception trying to capture people to then buy their product. It's disgusting. I do not like that. It's crappy. It's crappy. You know, you should let your product sell itself. That used to be a motto when things were at least half normal. But things are not normal at all. You know, you have politicians who act like there's children in the world that act more righteous than most politicians do today. You know, whiny Tim Waltz, like, I don't even know what to say to you or for you. You know, you wanted the presidency because you wanted the presidency. You wanted the clout. You wanted to say you did it. And it's like, what did you do? If you don't have me involved, then you're doing nothing but trying to repair a completely damaged fence that I'm going to tear down anyway. So the next thing would be to, okay, Father, what then? How should I build the next fence? What is it you need me to do? That's what we do. And the good thing about President Trump, too, is he's not a big thinker. President Trump is a big actor. But when my influence is winning the war with President Trump, we get stuff done. When things begin to peter out and feather out and it becomes the focus on, like, all this fugazi, then that's when you know, well, President Trump ain't listening to God anymore, because now he's doing something that doesn't even matter. So we need to get to things that make sense, that matter, and America will be the world capital. I mean, it is. And at this rate, you know, we're just beginning. Venezuela's just the beginning. And these car accidents need to stop. It's senseless. We need that to stop. We need the senseless wars to stop, one way or the other. We need people to come to their senses and sober up. We need people to come to a very simple but very important realization that God is real. I am He incarnate. These are the things in which I'm doing to the earth, with or without mankind's permission, with or without mankind's onboardness. I don't really care. Because, as I've explained this in other videos, but again, for my newcomers, right? I am taking out wicked and evil people. I am taking out selfish and greedy people. I am taking out people that are working agendas against mine. I am taking out countries that are not going to shape up and get on board. Those countries that are choosing to live third world and their people are suffering for it, I will turn those countries into satellite states. If I end up conquering the entire Western Hemisphere, then so be it. Because the earth is mine. And it just so happens that I landed in America. So, not just so happens, it's a plan. It's a big plan. And Israel has a nasty habit of shooting themselves in the foot every single time. That's a shame too, because I really do like the Jewish culture. I mean, you guys have your long braids because of my beard. My beard's been like this for ancient times. Every time I've appeared, my beard is my natural beard, by the way. I mean, it's so funny because I'm very, very popular, but I am known around town and things like that by my beard. I mean, I even had people go like I was at Aldi one time, Asher and I and the kids, and it was kind of hectic. I'm like throwing groceries up, I'm trying to get going, and this guy's like, he's like, so like, is that your real beard? And I'm like, yeah, you know, and he's like, really? And I'm like, I'm gonna pull it, but I'm like, I showed him, you know, it comes all the way down here, it's long. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, it happened. Even the delivery guys yesterday, you know, they're bringing in the replaced washer, because I bought a new washer and dryer set, finally paid them off for 2 years, and then once they're paid off, like, the washer breaks, and then it's like, that wasn't even my original washer, because I bought the brand new set. It kept throwing codes, and I'm like over here pissed off, because I'm like, I don't even know why we ended up getting this electronic nightmare. Well, it's because, surprisingly, right, it's the only set I could afford, because they make you finance it if you don't have the cash to buy the cheap ones. If humans just sat back for 5 minutes and thought about the schemes and the scams that are in every facet of business, every place of empire, every place of transaction of anything, of any kind, this is how it is. These systems are designed to keep the poor, and it increases the rich. It destroys the middle. Guys, there's going to be no rich people in the new earth, because if someone's on purpose, that means they are building, and they are innovating, and they are culturing for their fellow man. Okay? And that's how we move forward. So right now, South America, the southern hemisphere of the United States, that whole, I mean, you know, from Mexico south, you know, there's probably less than 10 countries that I believe truly at the end are going to remain sovereign, because the rest of them, their people suffer. They're in poverty and senseless death all over the place. Guerrilla warfare all over the place. It's terrible. Human conditions for most people on Earth are pretty terrible. And that's not going to stand. And just because America is the richest nation in the world, America should be rich in resources. America should be rich in ability. America should be rich in culture. America should be rich in the ability to not only innovate, but to permanentize their structures. Guys, you have houses that barely make it 25 to 30 years, but see what I mean? That's intent. That's intent. So home builders that do that, right? My death angels are coming after you. The car business coming after you. Any businesses, any places of transactional money that is purposely creating stuff to break and to falter at a certain time so it renews the person's buying is a great curse. It's a curse of death. You're going to get out of my way. It makes me so mad. And likewise, I'm moving past churches because you're not worth my time. No church has been worth my time. No people has been worth my time. So that's why I just use my own God card. And I say, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take the controls and do as I will. And the world gets to watch the show as I do it. And guess what? I don't even have to leave the comfort of my little home. It's little, but it's nice. It's like every other home. It's going to fall apart. And my desire is to find a property that I can put up permanent roots, because I want to have my bee farm on one side. I want to have my goats on the other side. So I want to have milk from my goats. I want to have honey from my bees. I want to have a wood shop. I'm going to put on the front the Lord's workshop. I want to make tables and chairs and fine furniture. And then I want to bring them to little farmers markets, and I want to talk to local people that are, equally invested in their community. And then I want to be able to build custom pieces for small businesses that, we're going to bring out some of the cultural dynamics of our town. I live obviously in Florida, so coastal's big, but point is, those are like my personal ambitions, because I, as Elohim on earth, I contribute obviously to everything that is alive, but even for direct satisfaction. That's how I develop relationships, as I develop relationships with purpose as well. So in a way, as I've used this in the past, right, the judge, he's the judge when he has on the robe and he's sitting in the courtroom, but that same judge is a person, right? He goes after his courtroom, he's having dinner with his wife, right? He's going to baseball games with his kids. And that's how I am as God, as the actual incarnation of the Almighty God. Is I have my 1 foot in heaven, my 1 foot on earth. I can see clearly both ways, and I accomplish both tasks, and I try to do them at the highest caliber I can. I try to be the best father for my carnal children, and as I've said, Cameron is my direct son with Asherah, and between her blood type and mine, and his, obviously, I created him, actually. This is an interesting one. Cameron was created in heaven and was alive in heaven all the way up till he was, well, I won't go there, but point is, Cameron was fully in the kingdom for a while before he came down. And then he came down, obviously, when Asher and I rejoined. And then we needed to bring Cameron down, and there we go. We got Cameron. Now I got Jay, Cameron, and my Asherah. My circle's complete. So I'm saying they're gonna carry on, the Earth legacy, but with me, because I'm Elohim. I'm not going anywhere. That's what I mean. Like everyone that listens to these videos today, keep wanting to say December, January 6, 26. And in 100 years, right? Most of you, all of you guys will be gone, right? You'll be in either heaven, or you'll be in hell, or you'll just be in the abyss, right? Unassigned energy, because, well, that's what you believed in, and I didn't know you, so there you go. So the point is, I would like people to gain a little bit of perspective and a little bit of, on one hand, excitement. Be excited your Elohim's with you. Be excited I'm dealing with your issues, and you may not like it, but guess what, guys? Humans have had full reign, virtually indefinitely, for a long time. I mean, historically, you guys have been in power, been in charge, and you've been free to do any and all things you want. And all you've done is gotten yourselves in bad situations, war situations for your surrounding brethren, and now you're past the bell curve. So as your Elohim, I have to save you as a species. I need to cut down on senseless death, first and foremost. Second of all, we need to get to innovation in the proper way. We need to start, like, guys, like, newsflash. This planet is not going to be big enough to house humanity for another 1,000,000 years. You're going to need expansions. And guess who's going to be able to do that? Me. Mars is your future. But guess who has to put a power core in Mars? Me. Elon Musk can't do it. President Trump can't do it. I know that might be news to you humans, because y'all think that between Trump and Musk and all your other man worship that these guys can do everything. Newsflash, they can. I can. I could have Mars green in less than 2 years. You'd start seeing little green grass. That's a promise. But not until I feel comfy that we're getting things on the right track here, because there are technologies that I'll give you, and I give them to you for free. That's another thing. If you guys had 1/1 trillionth of me in your mind, you all would have used it for greed. You would have used it for domination. You would have used it for position. You would have used it for power and influence. As Elohim, I truly do hold all the cards, which is why I have no proclivity to want any dog and pony shows. Quite the opposite. I want things that are real and manageable. So, if the world never spoils me, fine. My creation is still my creation, right? So, I'm saying, you guys, at the end of the day, you're visitors on my creation. So if I'm remodeling my own theme park, it's no one's place to criticize it. I mean, you're welcome to, but I don't advise it. All right, that's my third cup of coffee, and I'm 7 minutes over. Have a good Tuesday. Don't know what tomorrow looks like, so we will see. And then we will reconvene again. So, good day.